Hello and welcome to another Solana tutorial. Today we're gonna have fun with staking accounts. Yes, and by that I mean we're gonna have a look at the newer instructions like merging, splitting, whatever there is, I don't know. Cause I was super excited about that when that came out over a year ago, and I wanted to make a video, but then I didn't. So today we're gonna make that video. This is gonna be a video for Solana developers, but before we get too technical, let me say something for everyone, and that is stake your soul. You probably heard the phrase stake your soul before, probably from a validator operator. And I was like, yeah, of course the validator operators want me to stake my soul because then they get to produce blocks and get rewards. But I only recently figured out that staking my soul actually really makes economic sense for me as well. I recently looked at my old wallets and I was really positively surprised by how much the staking accounts have grown in Sol. I don't know the current numbers, but it's like 7% annually. So I was like, you can actually make good money by staking your soul. Or the other way around, you lose money by not staking your soul. Opportunity cost. I wish I would have staked all my soul. Like I have wallets where the soul is just lying around. And I'm like, goddamn, I should have staked that. And I should stake it now, because otherwise I just lose to inflation. So unless you need the soul for something else, like rent or whatever, stake your soul. The only thing that speaks against staking is that it's locked up, but even that is just an epoch length, and that's max 2 days. And also, if you're really worried about that, you can do liquid staking, which, has other risks involved, but therefore you're not locked up. So basically what I'm saying is stake your soul. Yeah, and now for developers, since the users want to stake their soul, maybe your applications want to support that in one way or another. Or also for your application yourself, if you have a treasury, maybe you want the treasury to be staked as well, or a part of it, or whatever. So knowing how to work with staking accounts can actually be very helpful for Solana devs, and that's why we're gonna have a look at that today. Yes, let's go. Maybe let's start here. Solana program stake. The stake program. Stake 1. 1. It's a BPF program because, and that happened to many core programs like native programs, that they were moved out from the actual validator client. Here it says it was built into the Agave validator client. So basically it was part of the validator code. But then because we want to have different validator client implementations in different languages and so on, for instance, Firedancer, we don't want all of them to have to re-implement all the programs as well, like the system program, the stake program, all the loaders and whatever. So they were converted to an ordinary BPF program. So, one that is handled with the BPF loader and can be invoked like a normal program. And that's already the case now. So this program, the stake program, allows creating, delegating, splitting, merging, and so forth of staking accounts. And I think by now you know, but I'm gonna mention it again just in case. Staking means you create an account, put Sol on there, and then delegate it to a validator, which doesn't give the validator access to your Sol, but that additional Sol gives them more voting rights. It counts towards their total stake, because it's the total stake of the validator that determines how many blocks they get to produce. I don't even know if we have slashing on Solana yet. They discussed that and it's gonna come most likely, or it's already there, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. So you have the risk of that Sol getting less as well. If the validator misbehaves and gets slashed, then it needs to be punished somehow, and it's been punished by losing Sol, and that Sol is the one that it has in total stake. So also your staking accounts might be affected with that. But otherwise, the Sol just accumulates. But anyway, I already made a video on staking and staking accounts. You can watch that up there. And back then we did talk about the initialize, withdraw, deactivate. We talked about authorize. We talked about delegate, of course. But what wasn't the case back then, we didn't have the split or merge yet. I think those are new. And even authorized check might be new, although I'm not sure. That just basically adds a signer check of the receiving authority, which makes it safer that you can actually make sure that you're authorizing some account that you can sign for. Move stake, that also seems new. I don't even know what it does. Or move Lamperts. So yeah, there are definitely a few instructions that we want to have a look at. And this Solana program stake, it's so cool that they have it in Solana program now, because here we have, for one, the actual program. So you can check out the actual program's implementation. Hey, here's the get minimum delegation. That's just the constant of 1 sol. You can't delegate less than 1 sol. And here's the implementation of all of the instructions. And where would I find the state? It's importing that stake. Maybe it's in the interface. There's also, oh yeah, of course, that's then probably in the interface. Solana stake interface. It's actually pretty cool that they split that. Yeah, here we have the state then. Yeah, and the instructions. And so the program is the actual implementation, and the interface is defining the accounts and how the instructions look. And the accounts here in the state, here we can have a look at actual state. Amazing. That's gonna be relevant if we wanna have a proper look at how it works on chain. That's what we store. So maybe I wanna download this. But also what's in here in this stake program stake is all the client stuff for Rust and JavaScript. And that stuff is basically the auto-generated code from Kodama, I guess. It's just all of that is being imported. And that holds all the instructions and programs and account stuff and has all the encoders. That's all auto-generated code. Watch my video on Kodama for understanding that better. Upgrade JavaScript client to Kit v3. Cool. That's pretty up to date. I like it. And it's all in there. It's all in Solana program stake. Very easy to find everything. Good. I like that. But it hasn't always been in here. I think that's pretty new that we're in here. Releases. Yeah, that's all pretty new. Version 3, version 2. Oh, I gotta go far back. Okay, I can't find where exactly it was added. It's also not so important. And even if it was there from the beginning, either way, we haven't had a look at it, the split and the merge. So I definitely want to have a look at that today. And also anything else that we find interesting here. So first, let's try to understand what that actually does. Because I mean, when you read split and merge, you might get an idea, but do we know for sure? Obviously, split might take a staking account and split it up into 2. Merge might take 2 staking accounts and make it 1. But let's see what it actually does. And for that, we need staking accounts. Should we work with CLI or? Nah, it's more fun and we are more flexible if we use a client. Should we go Rust or TypeScript? Let's do TypeScript, but it's pretty much the same. And you have the clients for both. Like they're auto-generated, both the JavaScript and the Rust. This has basically the same thing, right? You have the program ID, you have all the instructions, then can use it like that. Most people, I think, are more proficient with TypeScript than they are with Rust. So for you guys, let's do TypeScript. If you want to work with that in a program, then obviously you're gonna need to use Rust if you're doing from within a program. But for now, what's important is just that you understand how they work, and then the implementation, you'll figure it out. It's not gonna be complicated. It's just a staking program. Okay, speaking of just a staking program, let's clone that though, just so we have it here as well. I'm gonna clone that entire thing. So I've imported the whole thing. The interesting stuff is in here in the interface, and we might have a look at that when we get there. For now, we're gonna use the JavaScript client stuff that is generated, but I'm gonna do a new project for that where I add the Solana kit and Solana program stake. That will give me exactly what's in the repository here. And then I can import that from Solana program stake and it will have all of those things. Like the get initialize instruction. Because it's the initialize instruction on the stake program, I can be like as get initialize stake instruction or something like that. If I have more get initialize instructions, because every program has an initialize function, then you would want to do that. But for now, we just have this one, so it's fine. Okay, so what do we need? To start with, I guess we just gotta create a stake account so we can work with a stake account. So let's get the classic script that I always use. Yeah, we will probably need the system program. Let me also add types and Solana program system. There we go. because we probably need to create an account. That's what you gotta do if you do it manually. But as I said, I want to do this from the developer's perspective. If you do it from your program, then you will just need to CPI into the system program and so on. Okay, first I need a key. Keygen grind starts with what do we want? Stake, stake X, stake G, stake 99, stake 13, stake W. Okay, give me 10 more. Stake R. Yeah, I want a stake R. Okay, that's usually how I grind my keys. Until I'm happy. I could have said stake R from the very beginning, but I like to have options. Anyway, so this is gonna be my key pair. Solana config set, and we're gonna work on devnet with this key pair from here. Boom. Then we have this key pair. And then we can say Solana airdrop me a sol or two, because then I have one to stake and still space for fees. And then we're gonna use this key pair. So I'm gonna paste that here. Full path, YOLO, why not? And then we can finally get to the instructions that we need. We will want to get the initialize instruction. Again, as I said, we can use that as get initialize stake account instruction, but that's not what it's called, but now it's what it's called. But that might be confusing for you, but this is also confusing for you. It doesn't matter, either way is fine. Oh, whoa, hey, argument 0, argument 1, that doesn't look as good as I hoped. I hope that I get clean, nice names for this. So we see it needs the rent. We see it needs stake, which is an account. Initialize, that's interesting. So the stake is then actually the input, but that looks like stuff that I should not use. That's okay. I don't like this. Is that because I was renaming that? I don't think so. No, that's the same. This is more confusing than I thought. So hold on. Get initialize instruction takes initialize input and the config, where I can define another program address to another stake program, but if I don't define anything, it will take stake 11111. And the input is initialize input, which is that thing with the argument 0, argument 1, which I don't understand what it actually is, but maybe we understand it here. The rensis, where it will take probably automatically the right one if we don't provide it a different one. And the stake, here we see it, it's supposed to be an address. The initialized stake account. Why did you not tell me that? Why do you think that gotta be any? You say an initialized stake account. Here you understand that it's supposed to be an address. Okay, we gotta need a new account. Staking account, stake account, whatever. Await a get or create. It's generate key pair signer. Then we have the stake account, and that's what we will use here. So that's the stake. And then the other thing, rensis, where I don't need to provide argument 0. What are you? Authorized. I wish they had nicer names here, honestly. I wonder why it's that weird. Is it the same in here, in that generated instructions, initialize? Yep, you also talk about argument 0 and argument 1. Because again, that's the same. That's just what I get from Git, and the other thing is what is in the npm package, which ideally is the same. So if we're not getting really smart with this, then as a dev, what I would do is obviously look at the source code. We just were there. So not just the client stuff, but maybe in the interface, in instruction initialize. Initialize takes authorized and lockup. Those are the two things that we need. It did already tell me something that this is authorized. Oh, because it's here. Authorized arcs. And that is the stake and the withdraw. Here we're getting somewhere. Stake and the withdraw here as well. And the lockup is the Unix timestamp epoch custodian. We did actually have a look at that already in the previous video on staking accounts, just that I forgot all about that because it's been a year. But you know, it's always good to work with current implementations of stuff. So yeah, let's learn. So here, that's much nicer. Just the argument 0 is a bit badly named, but the problem is the auto-generated code probably doesn't know better how to name this, because it might just have the names for these things, and then it auto names it argument 0 and argument 1. Yeah, sucks for us, but here we go. So the staker is an address. Should I make it a separate address than my payer? For now, we're gonna use the same thing, but later we might use a different one. Just the address, sorry. So I'm gonna put my authority here as the staker. This is the address. Do I need to sign with this? Actually, no, I wanna do it like this. The authority is also a key pair. And then I'm just gonna get the address from it here. So both stake and withdraw authority I'm gonna put to the same address, which is my authority, which for now is the same as the one who's paying. So that's argument 0, and then argument 1, just gotta know that you gotta make an object here, and then all of a sudden you get the nice things. So we need to delegate it to someone. So now we gotta figure out what are delegators on DevNet. But what I can do is I say Solana validators, and then it's fetching validators. So stake by version, most of them are in version 3. That's on DevNet now. I get the identities and the vote accounts. See, those are the 2 addresses, and they're listed by active sol. Here we go. Dev1, Dev2, Dev4. Those, I guess, are the official ones. This one has the least amount of stake from all of them. I'm gonna take this one. So this, the identity, this is what we need. The validator address is this. Make it an address. Okay, and then I can put our validator as the custodian. What else do we need here? The epoch and the Unix timestamp. I again forgot what those arguments are. Is this the... Wait, that's the lockup. Argument 2 was the argument 1 in this case. This is the lockup, right? So we say, who do we lock it up with? Carries information about withdrawal restrictions. This lockup, the Unix timestamp at which the stake will allow withdrawal, unless transaction is signed by the custodian. So the custodian can actually make it withdraw earlier, or epoch height at which the stake will be allowed to withdraw. And since we have both of those, I wonder if we set both of them, that both need to be achieved. So we need to have minimum this epoch and this timestamp, which would make sense because I can set the other one to 0. And if I don't want any lockup, I can basically just set them to 0 or to a value that has already been reached. So it unlocks at epoch 0 and the Unix timestamp 0. That will do. No lockup, just give it to the validator. Oh no, hold on. No, this is something different. Sorry, I'm misinformed. I was just making wrong assumptions again. This again, the lockup, the custodian is part of the lockup, so the custodian can decide whether or not you get to withdraw. So if I don't have a lockup, I don't need a custodian. So actually, what if I put the system program address here? We don't need a custodian, but even if we had a custodian, I'm gonna put myself then as the same authority. Why not? Again, we don't need a lockup. Can I... Wait, is this optional? This is not optional though. I need this argument. Right, because we just initialize that stake account. We don't yet delegate somewhere, so obviously we're not setting the validator. Sorry if I confused you there. I was confused myself because I was like, yeah, we need that. No, we don't. No, this is just a lockup. And why did I get so confused? Because that was called argument 1 and not lockup. Can't we make the auto-generated code name this authority and this lockup? Loris, you know that. You, as the king of the kit, you know that. If that's possible, that would be amazing, because fewer confusions on my side. Sorry about that. Yeah, but anyway, okay, that's the lockup. We just say no lockup, thank you, and that's fine. Okay, good. And with that input, hopefully, we can, I'm gonna call it init input. And then I can specify another staking program, but I don't. So that's fine. However, I can't just do that. Let me maybe demonstrate. This is obviously not gonna work because invalid account data for instruction. Yeah, that makes sense because we didn't initialize that account. That account doesn't exist. So obviously the stake program will be like, I can't work with this. Please create it first for me. So we will need to create that account, which we have done so many times. We just get a create account instruction with the system program and create this goddamn stake account. Pay for it as well. Wait, that's pretty obvious. Yeah, that's fine. Program address. This is the one that will get to own it. That's the stake program address. I love it how the kit just imports, like that comes from here now. That comes from the stake program now. Here, it just exports that in program. Cool. Okay, and it's got a nice name. Address, not a pub key. It's an address. Awesome. Good. And Lamberts in space would be good to know the stake account size, which is... How would I find that out? Do we always have the same size? Stake account? Stake account? No, that's the decoded stuff. That's not what I want. How do I get the size of this? Cleanly, without hard coding. There must be a better way. I could encode an entire account and then get the size of it. But therefore I need to encode an entire account. And I'm not sure. Even if everything is fixed length, this thing still doesn't give me a length without encoding it first, which kind of sucks. I just want the length. I don't see a nicer way, because like token programs have functions for getting the size. Stake accounts, I don't like it. How about I totally overpay here and say, screw it, you get space for 1,000 bytes. Let me just check if that would work or if it needs to have the exact correct size. And we will figure out the correct size eventually. And then rent be like, get minimum balance for rent exemption. Send it for what? For the stake account size. And then we're just gonna put those here, the rent in Lamberts and the space stake account size in bytes. Good. And then we test if it now works to initialize this. No, invalid account data for instruction. Was that the same as before? Yes, here it was an account's data contents is invalid. An account's data context is invalid. So same, even though we have the account now, because here we created it, but it has the wrong size. God damn it. Okay, fine, we need to figure out what's the correct size. How do we do it? There must be something in the kit. And if there's not, why is there nothing in the kit? Does this thing have a size? There, here you can say a stake state v2 size off. Do we just have that in Rust? Stake state v2 is stake state, get codec. Yeah, we don't seem to have a size off. So the stake state decoder, get decoder encodes those things and encodes size as a U32. So there is this size, which might be this, the size of this. That's so unfair. I don't know how to work with it. If we were in Rust, we could add, not sure how I spell it, Solana program. What's the crate's name? Solana stake client. Solana stake client. No, a Solana stake program. Oh, maybe the further split in Solana stake program, Solana stake interface, such that you can individually import that as well. Okay, then we need the Solana stake interface. Cargo add Solana stake interface. There we go. And then we could say use Solana stake interface. What did we want? The state, stake, state. Let's start with this and then just stake account size. Stake state is created anyway. Let's use stake state v2, which hopefully has a size, but I don't like my Rust, or maybe my Rust analyzer just doesn't like, whatever. I'm just gonna pretend that it has that and then hope that it actually does. Stake state 2. Yeah, now we have a size of, look at that. Nice. Stake state v2 has rewards, but also has this size of, which in TypeScript I don't know how to get, but in Rust I get it like this. So here we know it's 200 bytes. How can I get that as well in TypeScript? I don't know. Stake state v2. Oh, that's a function. Yeah, let's do uninitialize, and then we get, what is this then? But you have a type. You have a type. You are now a stake state v2 ideally. Yeah, good. So if I say this is a stake state v2, I still don't get a size for this. Like but what I can do, so this is the stake account pseudo state, or actually initial state, and then I can now get a, what was it called? Stake state codec and encode the initial state, and then from this get the length. Stake account size is this. Let's see if that would work. So back to TypeScript. No, because we get 4, because it just encodes the initialized and not everything. But if I want everything, right, if I want the big one initialized, then I need to give it more stuff here with all the fields, and I don't want to fill that out. You know what? No, I'm not gonna let you annoy me. I'm gonna tell you 200 because screw this. It's not variable size, I think, because in Rust I can just get it like that. Just in TypeScript I can't for whatever reason, or I'm too stupid to do it. I'm sorry. Maybe there is a way and I just don't know it. That could be. Can't guarantee. Anyway, we gotta make progress here because we want to have fun with staking accounts and not spend all day trying to initialize one. So let's just hard code this. I'm okay with that until I figure out how it's done with the kit properly. So put that space here, bam, Lampert's, rent, and then that init stuff should hopefully work. Yes, and we have a staking account, which maybe I should have printed. New staking account, such that we have the address, but I can also just look it up here. This is the account that we created. The GXP is my staking account. We didn't use the validator yet because it's just an initialized staking account. We don't actually stake yet. Just a custodian that's used for if there's a lockup period, if somebody shall have some SOL, but they're not allowed to use it yet to sell it on the market, but have it in a locked staking account, then you would use that. But anyway, if we stake for ourselves, we don't want to unnecessarily lock it up. So we have a staking account. Let's actually stake it. Let's actually delegate it. Maybe I shouldn't call it stake. Maybe I should call it delegate because that's the actual instruction. In order to do that, we will need a delegate instruction. Delegate stake instruction. Oh, nice. That's nicely named. Stake, stake authority, stake history, unused. Hell. Okay, maybe it's not that nice. And the clock sysvar, which it will provide automatically. So first, it will need the stake account, which we said was this one, the GXP. So now we're delegating stake account. Staking account, stake account, I don't know, it's stake, whatever. And so the stake is this. My question is, do I now first need to put Sol on there though? I already forgot everything. The stake authority, and this is the one that we set, so that's the authority that can change where we delegate to, which can be a different authority than the withdraw authority. The withdraw authorities, after the lockup, take the Sol out of the account. The stake authority can just change who we're delegating to. And you can split those authorities, which makes sense. If you want to let somebody else choose and basically operate your staking account, but you don't want them to steal your funds, but you are okay with them deciding who to delegate to because you don't want to actively manage that yourself, then the stake authority is the one that lets you do that. And in our case, that was our authority, which was the same thing as the payer. We just have one key pair. I'm not sure yet. Unused. If that's unused, why do I need to provide it? I set it to 0. Maybe that's just some old stuff. And vote. Hey, is that now the validator address? This is so confusing. I would guess that I need to put the validator here, but is that the right word? Also, what's stake history? Stake history sysvar. Oh, there's a sysvar for it. If there's a sysvar for it, why do I need to provide it? Can't you do that yourself? Can I just not provide this? Nope. Where do I find all the sysvar? Solana sysvars. Is that official? Answer kit. Yeah, that looks official. It looks bright, but it looks official. Last published 3 hours ago. Great. So Solana sysvar. Sysvars. Okay, svars. There you go. Solana sysvars. And then we should hopefully have, there we go. Solana stake history sysvar. Because you couldn't put that in yourself. Oh, is that annoying. You did find the clock sysvar yourself. I don't need to provide that. Why not the same with the stake history sysvar? But okay, not judging. I just gotta do it. Maybe just a bug with the kit or the implementation of it. Whatever, it doesn't find that automatically. Fine. Okay, still not sure about the vote. Let's check source code. This is sketchy. Interface. Instruction, delegate. Initial stake account to be delegated. Okay. Vote account to which this stake will be delegated. Yeah, okay. So that's the... Hold on though. But then if you say here vote account, I would assume that it's this address that I need to delegate to. Not to the identity, but to the vote account. So if I want to delegate to my def4, then it's this. So then it would be this that I would need to put this thing here then. Guess we gotta test this one way or another. For now, let's just assume that's correct. This is getting, again, more complicated than I thought every time. So that was the second account. The clocks were fine. The stake history sysver that carries the warm-up cooldown history. An unused account that formerly was the stake config that we don't need anymore. We don't need a stake config anymore. And then the stake authority. But they didn't want to change the order of accounts, so they just said, just don't use the fourth account anymore or provide some random shit. Nobody cares. So we don't need the fourth anymore, but we do need the fifth, which is obviously the stake authority, which needs to sign that you're actually allowed to stake this account. Because again, the account itself is just an account. It lives by itself. It's not tied to a wallet. It just has authorities, a withdraw authority and a stake authority. And the way that the mapping to a wallet is made is basically by those two authorities. If you have the withdraw authority, then you can get the sol back, and if you have the stake authority, then you can stake it to somewhere. And I don't know how like Phantom or Soulflare or Backpack list it as your staking account if you need to have both or if you need to have one. But yeah, so that my point is, it's not in your wallet. It's just an account, like a token account. That's just another account, but it's your tokens because you have the transfer authority, which in the token program's case is called the owner, but that's a bad word. Bad words. Don't call me owner. Anyway, so yeah, that makes sense. The entire balance of the staking account is staked. Delegate stake can be called multiple times, but redelegation is delayed by 1 epoch. All of the balance in the staking account is staked. So if we started out, because we initialized it with just minimum balance for rent exemption, we will need to add some sol there to stake it, because otherwise we're gonna just fail. And I can also show you that obviously we're now gonna fail. If we do delegate then custom program error, well, I mean, it doesn't give us that much information. We could look up that error. Actually, we have the interface. Let's look it up. Errors. That was error 12. Insufficient delegation. Yeah, there we go. Delegation amount is less than minimum. That makes sense because we ain't got 1 sol on there. What we have on there, Solana account, is 0.0022 sol, minimum for rent exemption. And that's the data. So we want to first put some sol there. In fact, we need to put an entire sol there. Hold on, because what we saw earlier, I want to test something in this ugly list here. If we scroll all the way up, they have active stake of less than 1 sol. Does that mean they got slashed? Or does that mean you can start with less than 1 sol active because rent is then enough? Because I would just put 1 sol that we can stake once. But if I put 1 sol minus what we already have, would that also work? If the current balance is this and I want 1 sol minus what we already have, and then we just transfer that onto the account. So the destination is my stake account. The amount is the top-up amount. Call it top-up amount. Why not? And who pays? The payer. But it got a sign as well. So here you go. So first we transfer 0.998 sol on there. And then we delegate. Will this work? Delegate. Does that work? Yes, that works. We managed to delegate stake because we first transferred some sol there. Let's check that account again. And the account has a balance of exactly 1 sol. But that means less than 1 sol is staked. Because if we check that account on here, we see the delegated stake is just 0.997 because a little bit is also for rent. So the minimum stake size is 1 sol minus the rent for the account actually. Which makes sense because for a user, he wants to just put exactly 1 sol. Although on the other hand, no, for token accounts, they also have to first pay for the account. Whatever. They check the balance on the account and not on the active state. Fair enough. It's just 0.002 sol. Doesn't really make a big difference, but we just need exactly 1 sol to create the account and then stake. Okay, good. With that established, we finally have a staking account that is in warm-up, meaning it's activating. It's delegated, activating. It's not actually delegated yet. But I also don't want to wait until it's delegated, because for that I'll have to wait a day. Yeah, another day and 1 hour. I don't want to do that. So since we don't want to wait, I think the way to go from now on is to go local and run the Solana test validator. But actually, before I run it, check. Let's see, there must be something with epoch length. Slots per epoch, we could change that. And ticks per slots, we can change that. And with those two results, epoch time. So we can just be like, every epoch will just have 10 slots. Oh, must be 32. Then 32 slots, which is still very low. So we're processing slots and we don't see which epoch we're in. But let's check. Give me this account. Is there something with stake account? Stake account. Show contents of a stake account. Give me a stake account, this guy. So we see it's 1 sol. That's for rent exemption. That's the actual delegation, which is the same as the current active stake. There is a difference because, activating. Currently, all of that is activating. None of that is actually already active because we gotta wait for that epoch before it actually gets to stake. Yes. Nice. Love that authority. Okay, that's on DevNet. Let's go to local though. Keep the same keeper and... oh, I immediately get Sol. That's great. We init. That's our new staking account, the 8. And then we delegate this. Where do we get delegated to now? To my validator. What's my validator vote account? I don't know. Solana validators. There's one. A skip rate of 0.21%. I love it. It takes 0% commission. Oh, isn't that nice? And we have this identity and this vote account. And from the naming, I need to put the vote account. We're going to save this as well, but we're not using this. So I guess we need to delegate to the vote account. We'll see if that actually changes something. So currently... we have active stake 100%. Yep, that's the active stake. That's 1 million sol. It's local, it's made up, whatever. 1 million sol is currently staked here. And we want to stake another sol to this. So we run delegate. Insufficient Lamperts. Here you tell me you have a bunch. Here you tell me you don't. You need that much, you have that much. That looks like there's just 1 sol on that account. Hold on, now I have 5k, but maybe the 5, I don't know. What is going weird now? I don't get it. You think I have less than a sol balance, which is very weird. Because if I query that, it gives me that. And man, classic. Because here I'm on localhost and here I'm still trying to do it on DevNet. Oh man, if that was obvious to you since 3 minutes, took me a while. Anyway, but now we can hopefully delegate here on my local. Goddamn, no we can't. We fail with, we need to delegate at least 1 sol. Look, that's how much we have now. And I thought, that's interesting though. That's the same error as we had before. We're not delegating an entire sol. The top-up amount is not enough. But the current balance, I think it should be the same, unless the minimum balance for rent exemption. That's weird. Okay, so what if I top up an entire sol then? Would it then work? Then it works. That's strange. In that version, on DevNet, now we need an entire sol. So for this account, Solana stake account, here we need to have more than 1 sol because we need that for rent exemption, and that's activating. Stake activates starting epoch 0. Delegated vote account address, stake authority, withdraw authority. And it's still activating though, which means the thing that I wanted to do here doesn't really work. I was hoping that I get quicker epochs, that I get epic epochs, because I am confirming a lot of slots. How else can I test this then? How can I get activated? Solana slot will give me the current slot. Can I get epoch info? Epoch? We're still in epoch 0. Transaction counts. Epoch completion percentage is this. Still 2 days remaining. Hey, then that setting didn't work on my local test validator with slots per epoch, being this little. Slots per epoch, argument ignored, ledger already exists. I see. Okay, because the ledger. Okay, kill the ledger. Death to the ledger. And try that again. Now it's not ignored. Now we have a completely new ledger. And now, if I get the epoch info complete. Yes, nice. Nice. Then we're in epoch 1. Nice. So now it's quick enough. We are quickly approaching a new epoch. Nice, and we're in epoch 2. Okay, so now that's working. Now we just gotta do both of those things again. I could have put them in one script, but I didn't. So, well, let's init. That's my staking account. Put that here and delegate, which again doesn't work. Incorrect program ID for instruction. Oh, what? I mean, that's a weird error. Incorrect program ID. I would have expected that maybe the validator ID changed, because Solana validators, yeah, those are obviously now different as well. This is my vote account, this is my identity. Wow, does that change stuff? Yeah, so it's just a weird error. Incorrect program ID. They're using incorrect program ID for saying that this is not a valid validator. But hey, maybe that's already a good... If I can't use just anything here then for this vote account, maybe then I am using the right thing. Because let's assume I had another stake account, this one, and I wanted to delegate it to the validator address, the validator identity, not the validator vote. Then it gives me this incorrect program ID. I need to actually put it to the vote account. Only then can I delegate. Okay, so we're doing the right thing with doing the vote account. So that's good. Now we established that. Perfect. Okay, and we can check that stake account. Look at that now. This is amazing. I love this. Look, we have that much Sol delegated already because we're in that epoch. The epoch boundary got crossed. I love it. And it's already accumulating. Look, if we do it again, it's accumulating. Active stake and delegated stake are both accumulating because I am staking, so I'm making money here. Look at that, I'm getting rich. I love it. Nice. So, nice. All right, I like that. I like that because we can now simulate how an actual staking account works. Maybe we want to stake a bit more. We could, for instance, and we can delegate again. No, we can't, because we already delegated. Hold on, no, because then what's the thing we gotta do then? Entire balance of staking account is staked. Delegate stake. Can be called multiple times, but if redelegation is delayed by one epoch. But redelegation is delayed by one epoch. Delegate stake can be called multiple times. So what's the error I'm getting here? 0x. What's the error? 1, 2, 3. Too soon to redelegate. Interesting. One redelegation permitted per epoch. Okay, so maybe here the simulation isn't quite accurate because I have several epochs, but maybe because their time is so short, the sysvar doesn't update that or whatever. So I can't do that directly here, sadly. But what I could do, or at least let's try that. I just want to put another sol on there or whatever. What happens if I just transfer it on there? That should work. So delegate more. That will work. And now quickly check the account. We have that balance, but this is just living on the account. It's not being activated and it's not active. And if I say delegate again, it's too soon to do that. That's weird. One redelegation permitted per epoch. I'm saying epoch, not epic. If that's triggering for you, I'm sorry. It's just how I like to say it. Process delegate. Okay. And redelegate. Here we have that error, too soon to redelegate. If stake delegation voter pub key. So either if we would delegate to someone else, then we can't do that in the... That doesn't work. But is that the case for us? Is that my error just now? Or the epoch and the delegation deactivation epoch? Wait, and the epoch is the same as stake delegation. Ah, okay, I see now. I can only redelegate once it's deactivate. Can't redelegate to another pub key if stake is active. And epoch is exactly the deactivation epoch. Ah, okay, I get it. So the redelegate is really just in that one epoch of being deactive. I get it now. So redelegation is if it's currently in cooldown, like if we said we delegate and then we redelegate it while it's still being in cooldown, then we can do that. So we can say, I want to undelegate, like I want to unstake. And then in the same epoch, I redecide, no, actually, I do want it. And then that can be called multiple times, but redelegation is delayed one epoch. It's still a bit confusing though. So basically, let's try it out. Oh man, this video is already long again. So if I would get the activate instruction for my stake account authority, and then right after I delegate again, would that work then? Yeah, see, that works. So if in the same epoch where I deactivate my stake, I reactivate my stake again, then that works. And now, if we check that account, it still has that active stake, but it still didn't take the 2 sol in there. How can I get the 2 sol in there then? Because I don't see anything activating. Can I just not do that? I guess it's time to finally have a look at the new instructions. Because that's exactly the reason why they added them, because that's so annoying to work with. Let's say you want to add some stake to your staking account. The way we got to do it now is we got to deactivate, wait for the epoch boundary, and then delegate again. So basically this. So I got to first deactivate. We still delegate. State deactivates in this epoch, and that epoch, once it's reached, then we have stake account undelegated, and then we can delegate it again. So that's this part then. Boom. Then we delegate it again, and then it's activating now with both of the sol and after the epoch boundary. So it activates in epoch 80, and once we reach epoch 80, then we have active stake of 2 sol. Amazing. Which seemed pretty easy, but that's because my epochs are a few seconds long and not 2 days. It would be nice if we could do it just in one transaction and say, hey, change it once the boundary comes, such that I don't need to do it and then 1 day or 2 days later come back and send another transaction. Because first of all, I will lose an entire epic worth of rewards. Now I said epic, I say what I want. Once this, once that. And secondly, I need to do it twice. I need to pay attention to that twice, and I might forget because I'm a lazy person with ADHD and whatever. I prefer to have it done all in once. And I can do that with the new instructions. So let's finally have fun with staking accounts and use the split and merge. Let's start with the split. I have one staking account with 2 sol active stake. I could be like, I wanna split my risk and have it in 2 staking accounts or whatever. Just such that I can delegate one to another validator then or whatever. So let's split it, yo. Let's get a split instruction. What does that need? Arguments. Wait, I'll deal with that last. The stake, this is the easy one. That's my stake account. The stake authority is also easy. That's my authority. And then split stake. What is this? It needs, that looks like it needs an address. It needs an address. Maybe I should read docs what it really does. Set lock merge. Where is the split? Redelegate, move. And actually from stake instruction here, it looks like split really was always already in here. Maybe I just really never looked at it because it's before the withdraw, and the withdrawal definitely was already always in here. Anyway, okay, so split. Split tokens of a stake account into another stake account. So basically I need to have another stake account, an uninitialized stake account that will take the split off amount. I see. And the stake authority. That's fine. And then we also see the arguments. That's argument 1. That's just the number, number of Lamperts. So we need the other stake account and we need the number of Lamperts. There. Cool. And the other stake account, I'm just gonna initialize another stake account. Here, the 5J. This is now my other stake account. There you go. Which in the beginning is uninitialized. Stake account is undelegated. There's nothing in there except the sol for rent. And if I say split, that doesn't work. invalid data. Why? Ah, I get the error, but it doesn't show me the error to string. Invalid account data, that's not really helping, is it? I already have that here. Invalid account data. What am I still doing wrong? Split instruction, I give you the authority, I give you the uninitialized account, and the arguments is how much. Why am I failing that? What does it take? Stake account to split. Must be initialized or stake account. It's a stake account. It's currently staking. And the initialized stake account, we also have that. And the stake authority, we also have that. So what's the, what exactly is not right? Do we need to look at implementation again? Oh, split. Validate split amount. Insufficient funds, insufficient funds. I'm getting the invalid account data for instruction error. So we're already failing in the processor probably. Process split. There, invalid account data. This or this. Is it anywhere else? Invalid account data. So invalid account data could happen if the stake v2 is not in stake. Maybe I have the two accounts confused. Maybe the split stake. No, this is supposed to be the stake account. And that's the stake account to split. So that should be fine. So I don't think that's it. It's probably one of those then. So destination stake account data length is not the size of, which it should be because I set it to 200, right? In my init, I set it to 200. It should have the right size. So I don't think that's it. If initialized destination stake account, we can split into this. Otherwise, we get invalid account data. So if it's not uninitialized. Oh, wait, hold on. My initialize initializes the account, so therefore it's not uninitialized. Yeah, that's my problem, obviously. When I do the init, I already initialize the account with that stuff. Yeah, okay, so basically what you want me to do is just create an account first and have it uninitialized. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, just create account, which will do the same as initialize, except it doesn't initialize. So we don't need any of that stuff either. So let's just create an uninitialized account. That's the account. And then we split into this account, into this uninitialized account. Yeah, this works now. Nice. There we go. Let's check the accounts again. Stake account. This one, this is the new one. It has one sol and is already active. And then the other account, same thing. Now it just has one sol left because one we put onto here. That's cool. And we could do the opposite as well. We could merge them together again, being like, well, they delegate to the same thing, so might as well put them into one account. That's what the merge is then for here. Merge two stake accounts. Both accounts must have identical lockup and authority keys. A merge is possible between two stakes in the following states with no additional conditions. Two deactivated stakes, an inactive stake into an active stake during its activation epoch. For the following cases, the voter pub key and vote credits observed must match. Two activated stakes. So yeah, if it's two activated stakes, then they must have the same keys. Or two activating accounts that share an activation epoch during that activation epoch. So if they're already being activated, then it's the same. All other combinations will fail to merge. But we're mainly interested in the two activated stakes anyway. So we are already staking and we do want to merge them. Should be pretty simple. We have the destination account. So that's where all the stake will land on, and we have the source account to merge. This will be drained. And yeah, we just need the stake authority of both of them. I guess the stake authority must also match, because we can just provide one stake authority. Oh no, actually, no, I think it's just the stake authority of the source account. This is just the stake authority of the source account because basically that's where we change the stake. The destination account could theoretically probably have a different stake authority. Although, again, don't quote me on that. I would need to test it, but it's not that important, so I'm not gonna. Okay, let's merge. I'm gonna call this my source account now, because that's the one that I want to merge into the other one again. And then I get myself a merge instruction with the following things. The source stake is the source stake account. The destination stake is my stake account. The stake authority is my authority. the stake history. For some reason, you still need that stupid history sysvar here. You shall have it. Fine. And that should allow me to merge, right? Yes, look at that. And then we check that account and suddenly it has 2 sol again. And the other one is completely drained. So this stake account is also being closed. Like the account is being reverted to the system program. That's actually what you would expect. Yeah, that makes most sense. Not have it an uninitialized account because then just the rent lives on there. Nobody needs that. So yeah, that's actually cool. Good. And the active stake, it kind of looks like either I got already so much sol as staking rewards or the rent from that account also went into the active stake here. How many did we have before? No, before we just had that many. So yeah, confirm this. Checking if destination stake is merged. Checking if source is mergeable. Merging stake accounts. Great. So account 0. This stake account went down to 0. And this, we could read it here. 0079 to 99078. I think the rent from this account also went onto this account. So it's 2.8 now. Ah, okay. Look at that. The rent went on there. So the rent of the other account did go onto that staking account, but it's not active. That additional bit of rent is not actually active. So to activate those 0.0022 sol, we would need to do that fun thing with deactivating and reactivating, which we cannot do in the same epoch. We would need to wait, deactivate it, and then reactivate it, and then it would go in. But there is better instructions for this, because we didn't look at all of them yet. There's the authorize and stuff, yes, but also there is a redelegate activated stake to another vote account. And this is deprecated. Redelegate will not be enabled because probably the delegate does delegate. Maybe that's why. Maybe not. I don't know. However, then there's also move stake and move lamperts. Those two I still want to have a look at because I have no idea what they do. So we can move stake between accounts with the same authorities and lockups. Same as with the merge. It's just not merging them all in, but moving just a bit using the staker authority. We can clean out an entire account with this, and then it becomes inactive. So that's like a merge, except the staking account is not closed. It remains a staking account afterwards. And you can't have less remaining stake than the minimum balance, obviously. Same as with minimum rent. The runtime here won't allow it, but in this case, the staking program won't allow that. Either you need to move out everything, or you need to move out just so much that at least 1 sol still remains on there. If it's inactive, it immediately becomes active and must contain at least a minimum delegation. The destination must be pre-funded with a rent exempt reserve. So it also looks like this could theoretically be a uninitialized account. This instruction only affects or moves active stake. Additional unstaked lamperts are never moved. Okay. Source account must be fully active or fully inactive. The destination may be in any mergeable state. Only lamperts that are neither backing the delegation nor required for rent exemption can be moved. So in our case here, we could move the 002 because the rest is either active or in rent reserve. A mergeable destination stake account. Wait, so here is my question now. Can this be the same account as this one though? Because it's in a mergeable state, it's active. And this one is active, a source stake account. Could I do? Let me try that. Let's move lamperts to get move lamperts instruction. The source stake, which I'm gonna say is my stake account. The destination stake, which I'm also gonna say is my stake account. The stake authority, which is my authority. And the arguments, which is how many. Yeah, it's a number. So 0.002 lamperts. Yeah, that will do. We'll look at it once. Move lamperts. Failed. Instruction tries to borrow reference for an account which is already borrowed. Aye. Okay, so I can't have it be the same account. So let's say I had another one, and let's make sure I delegate something to that other stake account. So it has one Sol delegated stake, just a random new stake account. And here I could then move, right? I could get a move Lambert's instruction that moves the 0.2 to this other stake account. Then I could even probably in the same transaction get a move stake instruction. So not move Lambert's, but move stake. So that's the other thing then. With the source other account, the destination my stake account, my authority, that is the authority for both, but it's for the other one here in this case. And then again the same amount. And this could then potentially work. Let's check. In the beginning we have 0.01 on there and only 0.006. So we have currently 0.006. And if I move, that still doesn't work. The first one would work, but the second one gives me an invalid program argument. So the move stake instruction doesn't work. Invalid program argument because? Oh, probably because it's then still activated. Okay, let's just do the move Lambert's. Let's see on here, we currently have that much, and then we just do the move Lambert's. Then that already fails with custom program error 0x10. What's 0x10 errors? Epoch rewards active. Stake action is not permitted while the epoch rewards period is active. Oh, because that's funny. I also have never seen that. Because we have such quick epoch, every few seconds my validator is in the epoch reward period where it sends out the rewards. And in this period, apparently none of the staking works or whatever. And we happen to just hit that millisecond or whatever time it needs to calculate that my validator is slow. But yeah, that's funny. So that was just by bad timing. Do it again. Then it should work. There we go. It works. So that now moved 0.02 Sol into here. And it's not active though. So basically that does nothing. I see. Okay, then I also understood why the other thing failed. If I then move, then I'm under 1 Sol rent exemption. Not rent exemption. Under 1 Sol minimum delegation. So that's why I couldn't move out the 0.02 that I just have in here. The move Lambert's really just moves Lambert's. It's not adding them to stake. So as far as I understand it then, there is no way for me to move those Lambert's directly into activating stake in the same account. I would need to create a new account where I activate. But that's really annoying. What if you have only 1 Sol and you want to activate another half Sol? Then you can't do that because you can't afford to activate another account. That's weird. Is there really no way for that, or am I just too stupid? I mean, of course it works with a deactivating and activating, but you don't want to do that. I want to just add it and merge to deactivated and inactive with an activating. That's not what I want. To activating. No, it's both not what I want. The way how this was implemented is that you need a new account for this. But I think with this one I can change, no? With the delegate stake. Oh, that's cool. Maybe the initialize checked is probably the nicer thing to use than the initialize for one, because we don't need no stupid lockup. In most cases for users you don't need that anyway. And you will have to sign with a withdraw authority as well, such that you can't accidentally set the withdrawal authority to some other random address like I could when I'm doing the init here. My withdrawal could literally be anything. The system program address, for instance, actually. Then we see that the withdrawal authority is the system program, meaning that any Sol that you put on there will essentially be lost. In this case, we didn't put on a lot there, so we're fine. We could accidentally delegate, and all of a sudden we have 1 Sol here, and again, can't get it off. We can still stake it to somewhere else, but we can't withdraw it anymore. So that's a bit annoying that we have this in the first place, this whole lockup stuff. So the nicer way to do this, instead of getting an initialize instruction, get an initialize checked instruction, which takes the stake, which is the stake account, the stake authority, which I'm gonna put as my authority, the withdraw authority, And the funny thing is that the stake authority doesn't need to sign. So here I just put the address, but the withdraw authority, this one does need to sign. That's why I need to provide the key pair signer here. And the rents is where it will find itself. So that's the cleaner way to do this. Let's do an init like this. That also works. Perfect. And we have the following stake account that has the correct withdraw authority. Nice. So that initialize checked is the right thing to use in most cases, unless you need a lockup or unless you want to set a different withdraw authority that you currently can't sign with. You might want to do that. You might want to set your cold wallet the withdraw authority and you don't want to sign with a cold wallet when you do it. So then you can use the initialize instruction instead of the initialize checked, or do initialize checked and then authorize without checked. But there's also authorize checked, which again lets you sign with the withdraw authority and the stake authority. Wow. Then both of them need to sign. Funny. Okay. Yeah, we still didn't manage to move inactive stake to active in the same account. That's a bit annoying. I would have loved to also do that. But we did see the split and the merge. That works pretty well. We can move stake from one active account to the other as long as they have the same authorities. Wait, does that mean that it needs to have the same voter as well? I guess so. It needs to have the same vote account, I would expect, because otherwise you, within an epoch, change who you delegate to. The withdraw authority may set a new lockup. Interesting. Okay, but I think I'm good with that. Okay, let's do the move stake. Let's actually try and move some stake. Move stake instruction. That's the stake account. That's the other. So we move from here. Let's see, how much do we have on this one? 0.0008 is currently active. So we can move those 8 to the other account, which currently just has that many. If we do that, then this account will have 0.9, and that's already active. So we can move between two accounts who are both active and delegating to the same vote account address. And sadly, I can't really test if I could move it to somewhere with a different vote account address. I can read source code and probably tell you that no, it can't. Move stake. Yep, there we have it. Destination must be delegated to the same vote account as source if it's active. Yeah, vote address mismatch otherwise. Okay, but what I can do then is I can create a new stake account that I delegate to someone else. Then move there, no? Like my goal is I want at the epoch boundary to change from one to another without losing one epoch. How do you do that? That's the important thing, really. I don't want to have an epoch lost. If it's inactive, it immediately becomes active. The destination is inactive. Must be giving at least minimum delegation. Okay, let's try that. It can be an initialized account, but inactive. I'm gonna initialize another account, this one. And then I move from my stake account to this account, which is not active. We can check that as well. It's currently undelegated, just an empty account with the same authorities. And then this currently has so much active stake. Oh, perfect. So I can put one of those two sol into the other one, such that it's also reaching the minimum. So I'll have one entire sol that I move to the other stake authority. But then it's just moved there, and then the other thing, but it immediately becomes active, they said. Then it's like a split. Wait, what's the difference between a split and this then? The split creates a new account from an empty one, and the move moves it into one that already exists but is uninitialized. Okay, that's the difference, right? Otherwise, the move will do pretty much the same, because the move will now set it to the same vote account as well. Currently, that other one doesn't have a vote account, but now that I moved it, now it has the same vote account. Obviously, because within active stake, I can't, within an epoch, change to who I'm delegating to. But I can move the stake between accounts. Okay, fair. I still thought there is a way how I can just change, but no, apparently there is not. Maybe I imagined that. There is this cooldown period, right? If you change stake, like if you change validator, there's a cooldown period of one epoch. That's why I need the stake history stuff. I can't directly change. I need to cool down for 1 epoch and then I can redelegate. At least we figured that out. It's not possible to do that directly. But we can move active sol around with a merge and split and move, which are fairly convenient instructions. I'm glad I had a look at that. Even if it isn't as satisfying as I hoped, because I still need to wait that cooldown. But that's, I guess, just per design. To combat various attacks on consensus, new stake delegations are subject to a warm-up period. Shows the history of stake warm-up and cooldown. So that's another topic, how all of that works. Okay, good enough. Admittedly, I didn't have as much fun as I hoped that I would in this video, but at least we looked at a few more instructions that the stake program has, and we can now more easily manage our stake, as long as it's always to the same validator. If we want to change validators, we gotta go through cooldown and warm-up periods. But if you do it right, you will just lose 1 epoch, because the cooldown ends and then you start the warm-up again. But still, you lose 1 epoch. I don't like that. I hope there would be a nicer way to just change who I delegate to, but maybe I just dreamt that. Maybe I imagined that. I don't know. I thought that was possible. It's not, or I just don't know how. But it, like, the program source code doesn't give it to me, so I would argue it's not possible. So yeah, that's that. Glad we had a look at that and established it doesn't go any better. If you're delegating to a not so nice validator, you'll just have to suck it up and lose that 1 epoch in staking rewards to then delegate to a nicer validator again. And with that, I'm gonna end that video. You can watch some others, like this one, or don't, up to you. Okay, didn't have as much fun. Okay, fine, can dislike it. Dislike for not enough fun. Subscribe or not. And I will see you in the next video, where we hopefully have some more fun again. Well, okay, happens. See you next time.